One of the sleeper cars in game, a car I've not used all too much, is the 2016 Ford GT, which we have wrapped in that magnificent looking Cadbury's purple. Of course, putting back on the racing stripes as the Ford GT should be. I'm pretty sure, before we get into the video, you guys will all agree that that Ford GT looks absolutely spectacular in Cadbury purple. Now, into today's video, we're going to have another look at some of the Crown Jewel races that we have got here in Test Drive Limited Solar Crown on Hong Kong Island. Now, the desire for more content in-game is most certainly there, but being over in Ibiza, we kind of forget everything that we still have got here on Hong Kong Island. I've kind of tried to highlight that this week in particular. So for today's video, we're going to kick it off in Crown Jewel Amethyst. This race, of course, for the Ford, Mercedes AMG and Nissan GTR 13.5 mile sprint. We've done it a couple of times before. This time, let's jump into the Ford. We've of course done it in the Mercedes GTR and the Nissan GTR. Let's see what kind of time we can do in the Ford GT. Now, of course, there's some very fake times up on this board, and to really get a grasp of what is a real time on this board, I instantly look towards Asayun and GR Pacuvius as always. 7 minute 41, 7 minute 46, some outstanding times on that board. My fastest time is quite a poor 8 minute and 50 seconds, and I don't think this stock Ford GT is going to beat the Mercedes GTR time. I've got a lot of improving to do here. Very sceptical whether or not we're actually going to improve today. We're going to find out. But as we can see, at the head of the grid is that magnificent Cadbury purple Ford GT, by far the best looking car on this grid today. Let's launch it. How's the GT getting off the line? Well, fantastically well. Little tune on the gearbox here to try and get through first, second gear as quickly as we can. Negotiate these first couple of corners, they're very tricky, and the AI are always on our back, so we want to clear out those guys as quickly as we can. Now we come through this straight. Can we hold our nerve? Can we hold it round this corner? We don't. We actually lose the back end a little bit. We do back off. Don't outbrake into that one. Done it a few times. Tend to outbrake into that corner. Take out our mandatory lamppost nice and early in today's race. So the initial get-go here, we're actually off to a fairly decent start, I would say, in the Ford GT. Don't have the best of tunes, don't actually have the best of builds overall with this thing, but it's a car, like I mentioned, I've not used enough in game. I want to use it more because every time I have used it, thoroughly enjoyed it. Can I fully commit around that one? I certainly can. Do back off around this one here because I do tend to lose the back end of the car into our first heavy braking zone for the left-hander there. But yeah, like I was mentioning, I haven't used this car enough, and whenever I do use it, I have a blast in it, and you guys tend to, talk about quite a lot as well. So it's a car I really want to, spend a bit more time, and maybe we do over the next few weeks leading up towards season 3 as the back end steps out as we do come around the big carousel left-hander there. But with the power down, we can see that rear spoiler lifting up. Magnificent active aero on this thing. Genuinely love this car. Coming downhill though, we want to get our braking zone correct for this little right-hander here. We know we've got a very tricky wall on the inside, which we unfortunately just clip, losing our momentum coming into that little right-hander, but we push on from there into the left-hander just here. Keep it nice and tight on the left-hand side of the road so we can cut across here, open up this right-hander, where we do take out yet another mandatory lamppost in today's race. A little shortcut here. I'm still not sure whether that shortcut is actually worth taking or not. I don't know if we make up enough time cutting through the little bit of the pathway there. Maybe need to do a few more races to figure out whether or not we do actually save any time there at all. I shouldn't have drank a coffee before I came on. I keep having to swallow saliva. Apologies. In through the left-hander, we know we can cut the curbs, we can cut the pathways on this track. There's a lot of shortcuts we can take. There's actually a lot of shortcuts I do tend to miss on this one as well. A couple of the fuel stations, the gas stations in particular, where we're not actually too far away from coming up to. In through the right-hander again here. Over-committing, but that's alright because we want to push through that central reservation into this little left-hander where we can take out those barriers. They're not going to slow us down whatsoever. Cutting back to the right-hand side of the track for one very specific reason. The hardest corner, in my opinion, on the track is coming up right here. That little chicane, right-hand into left-hand. God knows how many times I've done this race, missed out that little chicane and ruined my race overall. So it's good to be on the right side, literally, of the track for that one and manage to navigate around the chicane. Another right-hander there where we can see there is a shortcut on the inside there. Still don't know if that's going to be quicker or not. I imagine it probably is going to be. Need to improve with some of the shortcuts in these races, as Smithy MC actually pointed out with a couple of races that we have had. There are shortcuts to be taken on these races to get 3, 4, 5 seconds off our lap time, and all of that is going to add up by the time we cross the finish line. Into the first gas station, though, we can see it is a very good shortcut. We do manage to take it out this time. That does probably save us a good few seconds of lap time just there. It's all going to be important by the time we do come to the end of today's race and see our overall lap time. Into this one, not making the best of efforts here, but we do carry enough speed in through the little alleyway, and I hit the tree. Every time I do this race, I hit that goddamn tree. I just have to stay to the left hand side of it, and I don't know why. But every time I do this race, I hit that tree in the alleyway. I need to improve with that one. I'm pretty sure you guys have probably had a couple of troublesome errors with that also. Big open chicane just there, where we can cut that. And again, I never cut it, but we can cut it and get a little bit more speed through it. We can start to see how this jigsaw would all piece together with all the corner cuts, all the little track cuts that we can take, the 1 second, 2 second, 3 seconds gained. It's going to add up to a fair chunk of time by the time we get to the end of this huge sprint race that we do have here. But nonetheless, a 22-second lead on the rest of the pack into a heavy left braking zone. Again, take out those barriers. They're not going to cause us any issues when we do take them out into our gas station here once again. We probably could have been a bit quicker through there. I'm very critical of the racing today, guys. I feel like when I watched some of these videos back after recording them, I was like, well, we could have went quicker here, we could have went quicker there. Mistake made here, mistake made there. I like to be critical because the next time I go in to do the race, it sits in the head and, you know, I have to improve on that part of the track. This one, the Crown Jewel Amethyst race, for me really highlights that, where we really can improve in some of those lap times. The lap time that I have set, you know, there's so much improvement to be had there, that 8:50. At least 1 minute we realistically really need to be saving on that one to catch up to the likes of Asayun and GR Pacuvius. So yeah, lots of improvement is required. But at this point, we're just over the halfway mark. We're settled into this race. We've found a rhythm. We've found the balance of the car. We've gotten used to this one. Can we start to tidy this race up? Can we start to improve? You know, the racecraft that we've essentially got here. I do feel that this car has got so much potential. You know, whether it's the correct tyres chosen or the incorrect tyres chosen, you know, it is going to create, you know, a big issue with the race. This race in particular, I have got the semi-slick tyres fitted. As we just veer off the freeway and get very unsettled with that inside curb, we can see we just clipped it, and it does unsettle the car overall, kind of letting the back end of it step out. Really, again, another few seconds lost at that point. But as we do come around that right-hander back onto the big open section here, we're just going to get the foot flat to the floor, try to get as much speed underneath us in the Ford GT as possible. Up over the bridge, we know we're going to get a little bit of air there. Are we going to get any coming off the other side? We don't. We did get air coming off of that one in the GTR Mercedes. So interesting that the Ford never actually caught any air coming off of that bridge section. Overall, the GT is very, very balanced. Of course, it is a GT critical race. I think this race itself could be opened up to more GT cars. More could be included here. Let's just say the Jaguar F-Type SVR, maybe not a strict GT car, but those kind of cars, you know, they could be brought into that category. Maybe you class the F-Type SVR as a coupe, which is, you know, perfectly fine. But when we start to look at the Bentley Continental GT, it's a GT car. You know, obviously it's in its name. All of those kind of cars could be brought into this one. Then we actually think, what do we have in game? We have got a Grand Touring category. We could have this race opened up, let's just say, on a race rotation. Whoa, we just keep that one on 2 wheels, 4 wheels rather. We've got race rotation on Ibiza. Crown Jewel Amethyst here is crying out for race rotation for the Grand Tourer category to do this Grand Tourer race. Wherever it may be, guys, we're having a ton of fun. I think that, you know, race rotation could really excite everything with these Crown Jewel races, but as we can see, we've only got 15% left of this one, just managing to catch our braking zone there into the left-hander as we power the GT, the Ford GT that is, uphill here, round the right hand at the back end, just stepping out just a little bit, but you know, we're keeping it there, we're doing alright. We're just about at GR Pacuvius and Asayun's time. That's 7:41 to 7:46, so we know we're not beating them. We've still got 12% of this to get through, so we can just see how much quicker those guys are around this track. In my opinion, they are true lap times as well. We always see those guys at the top of leaderboards with good, true, honest times. Asayun also puts videos out about some of his tunes and the races, so I firmly believe that those are true race times that are on the board. they're the kind of goal, they're the target that we really want to be pushing forward to. Of course, GR Pacuvius was using the better version of this 4GT that we have here. He's obviously got a good tune, you know, a good build there on his 4GT Black Series, so we shouldn't be that far behind him. We should not be 1 minute behind him. The fact that I am really bothers me, and I need to improve. I really need to get better at this race to get myself up that leaderboard. Of course, we're not going to get into first place. We're not even going to get into 9th place. I do see Asayun in 9th place rather, as you know, the fastest true time on the board. So it is a huge issue that needs to be fixed with the game. I've spoken about it many times before. I'm not going to speak about it again. But as we push forward to, we do cross the line in the 4GT. Absolutely tons of fun with that one. What kind of lap time do we set? Well, an 8 minute 49. We do, I believe we do slightly improve, but not enough. We never improved enough. We are almost 1 minute behind, you know, the guys I want to be in and around Asayun and GR Pacuvius. It was the Carbon series, sorry, that GR Pacuvius uses. So 1 minute 3 seconds behind. I've got a hell of a lot of time I've got to make up there. Whether it's an imbalance with the tune, the incorrect tyres fitted, you know, we could go down and break it all down, but that's for me to do in my own time to separate that one out. Up there in 217th place, it is nowhere near good enough. As far as I am concerned, we must improve. So with that being said, we're probably going to take some time, have a look at these tunes, build some better tunes, enjoy the races that we've got here, improve on those lap times, get ourselves right up in those leaderboards. I firmly believe I should be up there. Not being big-headed, not being egotistical, but the amount of time I play this game, the amount of time I enjoy playing this game, building the cars that I build, I believe I should be up towards the top of the leaderboard. Critical of the racing today, but in my opinion, that was warranted, guys. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. Stay tuned for next week. We're going to be taking a look at Assetto Corsa Evo. I hope you've enjoyed today's video, guys. Stay tuned for more updates on Test Drive Unlimited and Assetto Corsa Evo.